What up, y'all? Tina here. So we're on Jonathan Majors' verdict watch. So this is where we're at. Majors has 4 charges: third-degree assault, third-degree reckless assault, second-degree aggravated harassment, and second-degree harassment. Now, this is my theory. This has always been my theory since June, when he admitted to putting her back in the car. Charge number 4 is the hold-up charge. So if you guys don't know, charge number 4 is the second-degree harassment, and that is the count that the judge says pertains to him picking her up and putting her back in the vehicle. And not only did he put her back in the vehicle, he kept trying to keep her there. Now, we all know he was just trying to put her in the car and keep her in the car so he could de-escalate and run. But here is the actual legal definition from my defense attorney buddy, Marcus Landsberg. Marcus, what is the definition of harassment?
Harassment is considered the lowest level. So harassment is usually, the intent has to be to harass, annoy, or alarm somebody, but not cause them pain. It doesn't have to be to hurt them, just to harass, annoy, or alarm them and touch them in a manner intending offending conduct. Normally the definition of harassment is like they pushed me, but not to hurt me. Just like, they kept poking me, or they kept pushing me, or they kept trying to, the one where they push you until you hit them back, that kind of stuff. That's usually where it is. Now, when we talk about harassment and assault being in the same charge, usually those are 2 separate touchings in the same context. So the harassment would be the push, and not in this case in particular. The assault would be knocking somebody down, but the harassment would be maybe holding them without trying to physically hurt them after you knock them down, if that makes sense.
So, all right, here is the New York legal breakdown of it. A person is guilty of harassment in the second degree when, with intent to harass, annoy, or alarm another person, he or she strikes, shoves, kicks, or otherwise subjects such other person to physical contact or attempts to threaten to do the same, or he or she engages in a course of conduct or repeatedly commits acts which alarm or seriously annoy such other person and which serves no legitimate purpose. So somebody on that jury thinks he's guilty of second-degree harassment. Now, if I was on the jury, there are some key terms that I would be looking at. The first is intent. Did he have intention to harass, annoy, or alarm the other person? So my assessment is he wasn't trying to harass her. He wasn't trying to scare her. He was trying to leave. Now, the law starts to break down. Does he strike, shove, or kick someone? Yeah, he does. He shoves her a couple times. So you might have someone on that jury who's like, look, he's technically breaking the law here because he's shoving her multiple times. Now, the third kicker is, does he engage in a course of conduct, and does he keep repeating acts that alarm or seriously annoy such other person and which serves no legitimate purpose? This right here is what makes it difficult, because what he was doing, it does serve a legitimate purpose. He was trying to get away. So what his lawyer should have done and should have hammered home was he was trying to get away. The driver said he's trying to get away. You see he's trying to get away. He was not trying to alarm or harass or annoy her by putting her in the car. He was trying to get away. And hold up.
And then, hold on.
He also was trying to make sure she did not hurt herself. So that's why he was trying to keep her in the car. Now, there's a way around this charge, and the way around it is safety. Me and Marcus talked about it back in June, and it's practically your get out of jail free card. So this is what he told the police. I was worried she would be hurt by traffic, so I physically picked her up and put her in the car.
It's very specifically why they told him he has to say, this is the reason I did that. Justification is when you're allowed to use physical force on or towards another person. You can use it in self-defense in certain categories. You can use it in defense of others. If they're attacking someone else and you meet these elements or these prior criteria, you can use it in defense of others. You can use it in defense of property in certain situations. And we all know different states, especially in the South, they have different levels of defense for different types of property, right? But that's what you can use in certain situations. Or you can use it to defend the person you're using it on if they're about to commit a crime or do something that may hurt themselves. So what's he saying in that statement? I thought she was going to jump into traffic, so I picked her up and put her back in the car. I've actually run that exact defense, believe it or not. So that is something you're absolutely allowed to do. Now, the jury would have to believe, and there's certain elements, and we can get into it if you want, but they would have to believe honestly that that's what you honestly believed and that that was a reasonable belief at the time. Also, that you used the right amount of force.
Priya should have said it 20 times. He was trying to keep her in the car so she wouldn't get hurt, so she wouldn't jump out into traffic. And look, he cares about her so much that he safely walks her across the street. Now, what he does do is, once he has safely got her on the side of the street, he does run because he wants to de-escalate. Now her safety is on her. But at this point in time, when you see him repeatedly putting her back in the car, it's for her own safety. That's what I would have said. Now, here are the possible outcomes. Number one, innocent of all charges. This is what a lot of us are hoping for. Number two, he's innocent of the first three, and he might get convicted on this fourth charge of putting her back in the car. And then the third outcome is a mistrial, a hung jury. So when you're on a jury, everybody has to be on the same page. For example, let's just say everybody thinks he's innocent, but you have one person who says he's guilty. That's called a hung jury. Everybody has to be on the same page. Or it could be in reverse. It could be that everybody in there thinks he's guilty, and there could be one or two people who's like, nope, I think he's innocent, and y'all are not changing my mind. So you could have a hung jury. There could be someone holding this whole process up, because once again, when you're on jury duty, everybody has to be on the same page. It has to be everybody says innocent or everybody says guilty. You can't have one person who disagrees with the other group, because then it's a mistrial. Then they got to go to the judge and be like, hey, we can't figure this out, so we a hung jury. And at that point, the DA can choose to drop the charges and let it go. Or the DA might say, look, we need 6 new jurors. We're going to run it back. We're going to do this case again. That would be horrible. Can you imagine with all this evidence that they want to do this again? It's crazy. So my theory is, if they don't have a decision by 4:30 on Monday, then it's one or two people holding everybody else up. And I think it's going to be a mistrial. We just saw this in the YNW Melly case. He's a rapper who was accused of deleting his 2 friends. Melly's case is probably one of the most interesting trials that I've ever seen. It's so intriguing, but I heard that there was literally one person who would not budge and would not convict him. Everybody else thought he was guilty, and I heard it was one person who was like, nope, you're not changing my mind. So they had to toss it out and start over. So the DA down in Florida, they're getting ready to run that case back. And it's crazy because this kid is facing the death penalty if he's convicted. People have been hitting me up the past couple of days like, what's going on with Jonathan Majors? What's going on? This is where we're at, guys. We're going through a waiting period. So what's going to happen is Monday, the jury will get the case again at 10 a.m. They'll start deliberating and working on it. And like I said, my theory is, if we don't have an answer by 4:30 Monday and they need another day to deliberate, it's probably going to be a hung jury. So how do y'all think the case is going to end? Drop your comments below. Thanks for hanging out with me. Peace.